Hey, what's going on, guys? Daniel Diaz Bravo here with Acclaimed Lending. Welcome back to our show. We still don't have a name, and it's whatever. We'll come up with one at some point. But Mario, I want to introduce you, our co-host, Mario Bravo Jr., also regional president for Texas. So what's
Dan,
going
it's
on,
good.
brother?
Not much, man. It's good to be here.
Yes, sir.
Good to be here,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
Oh yeah,
Episode number 2. You still nervous?
little bit. It's getting a little used to, but this is two in the books, and so we're gonna get better.
Yeah, man. I think
That
it's
fear,
fun.
that nervousness is gonna go away. So no worries.
Yeah. I think it's fun, man. I think it's a good time to just bullshit,
Yeah,
you know, and
yeah.
and just,
We just gotta
speak
be
what
us,
we
man. No,
yeah.
we're not. We just gotta be us. No, nothing crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, man. So episode number 2, right? So I was thinking about, hey, our clients, our customers, right? Our people are wanting to know, what are the home buying basics? What do I need to know? How
Okay.
do I make a decision on whether I should move forward or not?
Okay.
So, with that being said, right? What are the first steps in buying in a home buying process? Let's get into that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one there, And I think we should start with the mentality, I think, of what buyers go through, right?
Okay.
Leading up to the decision. Hey, I want to move forward. I want to talk to a real estate agent. And then the real estate agent connects us to them, which, by the way, I don't know. Like, I think it should be the other way around. I think people should talk to mortgage loan officers first and then connect with an agent once they're pre-approved and stuff. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what happened in the sequence of our industry that they go to realtors first. But anyway, so first and foremost, we've done a lot of research and surveys on this what's the number one reason why people don't move forward with buying a house or move forward with getting pre-approved. Okay. And that number one reason is they're afraid to be told no. They're afraid of the rejection of not being able to get approved or being told that they can't buy a house for whatever reason that might be. Right. And so because of that fear, a lot of people don't want to move forward into the next steps of the pre-approval process. And so I think this is a really great topic to start off on, because it's okay to know, right? Like, as a consumer, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about buying and you've been on the edge and you've been scared, it's okay to know that that is normal, right? Having a fear to buy a massive investment is normal, right? This very well could be the most expensive thing you buy in your entire life, right? So to be scared is normal. To be afraid to be told no is. So let's jump in.
Yeah. And
You
just to
you
remind,
you yeah, go.
just to remind the people out there, it's not purchasing a home. It's you're buying an investment.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're buying an investment.
You're buying an investment. So you're never, throwing your money away. You're investing your money. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get that out of the way, right? Because we don't want to think that, we don't want you to think, right, that you're throwing money away. You're investing, you're making an investment. Okay.
Yeah, it's an investment to your future. So, all right, cool. So what in your opinion, Mario, what do you think the first thing is?
Honestly, it is to get with the loan officer, right? Don't start looking at homes. Don't start doing any of that stuff. Get with the loan officer, right? Whether it be Dan, whether it be myself, and see what's really going on. See what you could potentially qualify for, right? Let's check. Let's go through our A through Z process, right? Let's get that quick application going, right? Let's find out why you're motivated to purchase a home, what's got you out there looking, and then let's get you to, move forward and complete the application, get the documents in, and then we can sit down and have that discussion.
Yeah. So we have 3 steps, right? We have 3 steps to the approval process here at Acclaim Lending. And so, you got time for a story?
Yeah, always do.
Yeah. All right. So there's a story about a client, a family that they went out and they went out to go look at a home. This happened to me when I was in new home sales, and it really founded the reason why I say, hey, you got to get pre-approved first. In my personal opinion, I think the first thing that you should do if you're really serious about buying a home and investing into your first home is to reach out to a mortgage loan officer first, right? The real estate agent is there to help you legally put your contract together to make sure that you don't get ripped off, things like that. And then to show you the home, they have access to the homes. But we as loan officers have the money that you need to get the home, right? And then we'll be able to tell you what you actually dollar for dollar are approved for so that you're not out looking at a home that you can't afford, okay? Which is what this story's about. I'm going to tell you. So I was in new home sales. This family came in and I'm brand new, right? Like I haven't drank the Kool-Aid yet. I don't know sales systems yet. I think I can sell the Daniel Diaz Bravo way. I come from the cell phone world. I think I'm good, blah, blah, blah. And family comes in. I'm all excited. I don't follow the process. They want to look at this home. I take them straight out there to go look at this home. They're super excited, pumped. We love it. This is going to be great.
Ready to sign docs.
Like they're excited. I'm excited. Brand new, right? Pumped, right? We take them through the process. We pull their credit. We take the application in, and there's no chance that they're getting into that home. They don't have enough income. Their credit is poor. Just a lot of variables, right? And that was like a rude awakening because this is the hardest part. The mom starts crying. Okay, so here I am. They're excited. They're gonna make a change. I'm excited. I'm new. But then we find out that they're not getting approved. Like bad credit, not enough income. The mom starts crying in our information center because they can't buy. Now I feel stupid. And by the way, these are the stories that I'll tell that help found and build our systems and processes and why we do it in the order that we do it. Because we don't do it just for fun, or we don't do it to be annoying, or we don't do it to be difficult. We do it because we need to create an exceptional customer experience for our buyer, right? And so, yeah, she starts crying and it's very uncomfortable and they just can't, right? Well, and at the time I didn't know if, but when. I didn't understand that, I didn't know how to fix their credit. I didn't know these. I'm brand new. And so, that being said, if you're a buyer or consumer looking to go buy your first home, reach out to a lender and let's talk the numbers, right? Our thing is, we're going to do our 3 steps, right? We have 3 steps to the approval process, which you kind of dove into. But the first step that we do is called the pre-qualification, right? And the pre-qualification, it's all hearsay. It's all hearsay on your situation, right? We're going to dive into your situation financially and personally, right? And so we're going to ask you questions on your current income. Are you employed? Are you W-2? Are you salaried? Are you self-employed? Have you completed your taxes? We're going to ask all these questions about income and employment. We're also going to jump into questions about debts, minimum debts. Do you have a car payment? Do you have a bunch of credit cards? Do you have collections? Do you have a bankruptcy? Like, we're going to ask these questions. This is about a 15 to 20 minute phone call. Within that 15 to 20 minute phone call, we're trained here, right, at Acclaim Lending to put together a really good story on that 15, 20 minute phone. Like when we're done with that, we're confident, at a high level, we're really confident that we either can get you moving forward in the process right then and there after that call, or we need to work on some credit stuff based on what you've told us, right? And so again, right, this is where hey, it's not a matter of if you can purchase a home. The only question is when, right? And then the other question too, or I don't know if it's a question, but the other thing too is I tell people, hey, how serious are you about buying? Are you on a scale of 1 to 10, are you at a 7+, or are you still at a 3, 4, 5, right? Because your mentality means everything. Your mentality determines whether or not we can move forward or not, right? Because if I hear that we need some work on that 20-minute phone call, we need to optimize credit, we need to do something, we need more income, we need to do something. If I hear that, then you as the consumer, right, must have the right mentality and ready to move forward, right? Because that's going to make you want to execute, right? So I tell people, hey, it's not a matter of if, but when, and I'm going to extend my arm out to help you as far as you'll extend yours, right? So if you, Mario, extend your arm 25% and I go 100%, will we meet in the middle?
No, we will never meet in the middle.
We'll never meet in the middle. And that causes a conflict in the process. And what I mean by that is that causes a conflict in the customer experience that we want to provide our borrowers. They're not ready, but we are. It's never going to work, right? Vice versa. You as the consumer and the borrower, you're like, I'll get this shit done today. I'm ready. And I'm messing around, dicking around over here at 25%. Will we ever meet in the middle?
No, we won't. We'll never meet in the middle.
Never meet in the middle. And chances are, as a loan officer, you'll probably never get another referral again if you do something like that. But, that's the first step. So it's a 15 to 20 minute phone call. And again, there's probably some nerves. There's probably, I don't know, I'm afraid to talk to Mario and I don't want to be told no, but just know, like, hey, we are on your side. I always look at the mortgage loan originator position as I am your attorney, right? So I need to know everything. If I am going to be and represent you, I need to know everything about your financial situation, right? Bankruptcies, child support, liens on a whatever, right? Like I need to know everything because what happens is the underwriter is the judge, right? And so when I put your story together, I got to go before the judge and represent you to say, hey, this is the reason why I feel like this person should buy this home and is responsible to make the payments back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so then, that first step really is us building that relationship with them on that 15 to 20 minute phone call. And I know that doesn't sound like a long time, but here's the thing. 15, 20 minutes, sure, that's about what we need. Sometimes though, in order for you to really build a relationship where they have more to say, it could be a 30-minute phone call, a 45-minute phone call. It just depends. Every situation is different.
Yeah, everybody's different. Everybody's story is a little bit different, right? So just could take a little bit longer to build that relationship and get their full story.
Yeah. So that's the first step. Okay. So Mario, you're the consumer, you're the borrower, you're excited. You've seen your friends buy homes. Now you're ready to buy. Number one is just figure out if you're ready. Am I mentally ready? Am I really ready? Because if you're not, don't do yourself a disservice as the consumer, and then, jump on a call with a loan officer and take the pre-qualification. I will say this, and this is me believing in our system and process. If you call a loan officer and it's a 2-minute phone call and they say, here, I'm going to send you the application, complete the application and turn in these documents without them taking the time to understand your situation, you might want to reconsider.
Yeah,
right?
chances that they understand where you're coming from, what you really need are very slim.
Yeah. They probably don't, I don't know that they might care, right? Here, I'm going to send you this link, complete it, turn in the documents. So we have this thing that we use. I forget, it's either an author or some big motivational speaker. I don't know who it is, but seek to understand. I forget. I read the book a couple years ago. Seek to understand and then be understood.
It's not
Right.
our good
So
friend Steve Brown. Might be Steve Brown.
I don't think it's Steve Brown. It's probably Covey though. I don't know.
Gotcha.
It's one of those guys. But first seek to understand and then be understood. So we like when I'm like looking for somebody in the service, industry and I need, a plumber or I need something done. When I go seeking somebody, or when I go to partner up with somebody, I always look for them to ask me about my situation. So like, let's say I need a company. If I meet with them and they start going, and this is what we can do, and this is how we do this, and this, and this, and this, and they never once ask me about what my business needs, chances are I'm probably going to, in the middle of it, just be done. But hey, I appreciate your time. This isn't going to work out. Like that's the kind of person I am. But if they say, hey, Daniel, tell me about your mortgage business. Like, how do you get leads now? Like, take me through it. Like, bring me up to speed, right? Help me understand how you do it. So when we're talking to borrowers, we want to seek to understand that person first and then be understood. So how do I coach this, right? Hey, you're going to ask and bring me up to speed. Tell me about what you and the realtor talked about, and then we're going to shut up.
Yeah, and you're going to be there and aware.
Yeah, we're going to be there and aware, listening in. So that could be a whole nother episode. You know, that's the first step, right? If you as the consumer call a loan officer and they're like, here's an application, here's the needs list, fill it out, send the documents, I'll call you later. I don't know, not for me. That's not for me.
Yeah,
And I think,
chances that they're looking out on your behalf, that they're going to go up to that judge and really be batting for you are very slim.
yeah, well, and here's the other thing too, like the borrower and the consumer was already nervous to call you, right? They were already on very reserved,
Yeah.
on edge. So then what they're looking for is reassurance. And so if they call you and you say, awesome, thanks for calling, I'm going to send you the link, complete it, send me docs. Does that really make somebody feel important?
No, it doesn't. To me, it sounds like they're just another number.
Just another number. So, they were already scared. The number one thing we get is they're afraid to be told no, right? So what that tells me is that really what they're looking for is some reassurance that somebody's going to actually help them through the process, and solutionize with them. So just keep that in mind, right? When you're looking for your professional is make sure that they're spending, 15, 20 minutes on the phone with you for that very first time, understanding your situation, and going through their process.
Good point.
So that I would say that's the first step. The second step, right, in the approval process is going to be the pre-approval itself. So after I get done with my 20-minute phone call, I'm going to send you the needs list. And this needs list, it's, if you're W-2, I'll send you a little bit different needs list. If you're self-employed, I'll send you a little bit different needs list. There's a link in the email, right? You can go and you go and create the application. It's secured and you can actually upload documents through there. Once we have 100%, this is where that extension of the arm between the bar, right? Like if you're serious and you get those documents into us within a couple of hours, 100% of the documents on that list and the application, we can typically get an approval out within the same day. But we gotta get all the documents. Don't send in, we ask for, and we'll put the needs list in the description, but we ask for 2 months of bank statements, 1 month of pay stubs, 2 years of tax returns, front and back of your driver license, 2 years W-2s if you're a W-2 employee, and a couple other things. Right? But once we have 100% of those documents, then we can jump right into your file and start working on it, getting you pre-approved.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that, Mario?
No, honestly, it's just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to, to reach out and at least inquire, right? We're not the big bad wolf. We're here to be on your side and we're here to help you. At the end of the day, a no is maybe no right now, but when, right? So just don't be afraid. Open up that line of communication and just reach out.
Yeah. Here's the other thing too, that a consumer should know is a lot of people are like, yeah, I didn't want to bother you. You seem busy, or like, I don't want to ask dumb questions. I get that. Like, I don't want to ask anything stupid. And I always like to say, hey, reach out to us, especially if you think the question is stupid, right?
I agree.
Like, don't be like, oh, I'm not going to ask him that. That seems like a stupid question. No, that those questions there, especially if you think they're stupid, reach out to us and ask us the question. The reason why is because if you're thinking that, a lot of different consumers are thinking that. And also they're thinking that the loan officer is like just, better, smarter, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like my goal is to educate you as the consumer. I joke about it, but like at the end of the when we land the plane and get you into your home and we hand over the keys, like, you might as well go get your mortgage license. Like, that's how much I like to educate throughout the process so that you understand it as a consumer. The questions that you might think are stupid or annoying, that's when you really need to ask them, and don't be afraid to ask them.
Yeah.
Because that's where we can help you the most.
I always tell my clients that there is no such thing as a dumb question. I'd rather
Yeah.
have them ask me, even if it's the same question worded differently, than than them just stay with it and never find out like the truth behind it. So there is no dumb questions. I mean, in my opinion, there is no dumb questions. I'd rather have you just ask me or have them ask me, and either I know the answer or I find out the answer for them, and we educate them.
Yeah, because here's the other thing too. Like, a confused buyer never buys.
Exactly.
Plain and simple. People will not make the decision to move forward when they're not certain, when they're not reassured, when they don't have confidence or they're confused. So a confused buyer never buys.
Whatever. Yeah.
So
then that's true.
that's the third step. So that's the pre-approval. So once we issue your pre-approval, we're gonna reach out to your real estate agent. We're going to let them know you're pre-approved. We're going to walk through your file with them so that they know and they're not taking you to houses that are not within your pre-approval. And also because we need to collaborate. Our realtor partnerships are a partnership, truly. So this is what we need from you. This is what we need to give them, blah, blah, blah. It's a partnership. For us to communicate what the consumer's file is consisted of, like, that's a critical part to the success of that buyer getting into a home. So that's the thing after, we get somebody pre-approved. That's what we do. And then we set aside some time and we schedule the pre-approval phone call or meeting. Really, it's either going to be by Zoom or it's going to be face-to-face. And it's about a 45-minute to an hour and a half meeting with us, either via Zoom or in person. And we're going to go through every single box, every single line item of your pre-approval and go through numbers and make sure that you understand and are comfortable with it. Okay. And we add some other things in there, right? We have an entire presentation that we go through. And yes, I know it's silly and some people doze off. And if they do doze off, it's my fault, right? Because I'm not keeping them engaged. But by the end of it, you can kind of see their shoulders, right? So, like, number one, they're scared. They know that they got a pre-approval. They know they got to meet with you. So they're going to jump on this meeting to figure it all out. But when they come into this meeting with you, this pre-approval meeting, they're still on edge because they know they're pre-approved, but they still feel like, I'm going to get told no. What's the catch? Right? So a presentation, a demonstration eliminates disbelief, right? So we take people through our presentation every single time because it will eliminate disbelief. And at the end of that presentation in our pre-approval meeting, you can see their shoulders just kind of like
relax and breathe,
right? Like, we're good. Like, we're going to land this plane.
and don't worry, guys,
and
that plane analogy will combine
I was
in
going
another
to say, you will hear it.
episode. We'll
Go through it word for word. But so we do the pre-approval meeting and then they're free to go about some shopping. Okay.
Yeah.
And go pick out a home and move right through the process.
Yeah. Now, Dan, how does credit score impact the loan approval?
I mean, listen, it's a loaded question. Credit score in our country is weird, but it really controls everything. Most deals that get held up with us are due to credit, right? And so we will do optimization plans for our borrowers. We'll take the time, we'll spend 2, 3, 4 hours optimizing their credit for them for free. They just got to put in the work and give us that commitment that they're going to put in the work. But, credit's one of those things where it's easier for us to optimize your credit score in a shorter period of time and get you moving in the right direction and into a home than it is for us to fix an income problem, right? If you make $25 an hour, Mario, you have really good credit, you make $25 an hour, but we can't get you qualified for a particular purchase price, it's going to be a hard conversation uh, between us for me to say, hey, like, I know you make $25 an hour, but you need to make more. You need a better paying job. Like, that's a little uncomfortable. That's hard, or you need to go get somebody else that can jump on the loan with you. That's hard, right? Because we don't know what their credit's going to look like. We don't know what their financial situation looks like, and et cetera, et cetera. But if I say, hey, Mario, you make $25 an hour, and like, look, we can get you approved up to, $400,000, but a couple of things are just holding us back temporarily. Your credit's at a 575. I have a solution that'll get you to a 600, 620, call it, right, in the next 30 days. On a scale of 1 to 10, how open-minded are you to execute this plan to get you into a home, right? And that's the decision of the consumer. That's the borrower. They've got to want to do those things. But more often than not, I can optimize somebody's credit to get them into a home. Okay. Now, elaborate more on that. So when you say, hey, how does it impact? What would you like to know? In what ways? Like, I know you had a reason for asking that. So tell me more about that.
Well, just in general, like, how does it impact their loan approval, right? How does it impact the interest rate that's going to be offered to the client or the borrower? And what is the minimum credit score that a typical lender can work with?
Yeah. So the lowest we can go is to a 580 credit score. Okay. Obviously, 580 plus, we can do something. We can get you approved. But what I like to say is the world gets a little bit brighter, okay, at a 620. At a 620 credit score, the world gets a little bit brighter. The clouds start to dissipate and the sun starts to come out. Okay. And what I mean by that is typically at a 620, interest rates get a little bit better for you, right? If it's a conventional loan or whatever, without getting too much into the weeds and confusing, but like your mortgage insurance gets a little bit better as your credit score gets higher, right? But we can do something from a 580 to a 620. Now, are we going to experience a little bit more turbulence between a 580 and a 620? Most definitely. Will your interest rate be higher from a 580 to a 620? Most definitely. Do we help people between a 580 and a 620? Absolutely, right? But we want to make sure that we can sleep at night putting them into a situation like that. They've got to be 150% confident and understand, which is why we focus on customer experience and education at the forefront, right? Because it will impact the payment. Your interest rates can be higher. You might have to pay some discount points, but 580 is the lowest we can go. 620, the world gets a little bit brighter. At a 680, we're doing okay. We can do some stuff. Obviously, above a 720, that's going to be an ideal client that's just taking care of their credit. But I don't like, when people say, if you're going to buy a home, to me, it's, can I buy a home right now? And do I want to buy a home right now with my current situation? And that's where you've got to be, as the consumer, that's where you've got to be comfortable. Am I comfortable with this payment right now at a 580 where I'm at right now? Because I'm tired of my neighbor upstairs smoking pot and getting hammered on a fucking Wednesday night. You know what I mean? Keeping me up when I got to go to work at 4. Right? Because it only gets better from there. If you're serious about buying and you have those types of things and you get into that situation and you're comfortable with that and you can make that payment at a 580 with a little bit higher interest rate, down the road, we can refinance you. This relationship doesn't end with you purchasing a home, right? This is an ongoing relationship where we will be the finance advisor in a way to our clients for the rest of forever.
Yeah.
So just because you buy now at a 580, that doesn't mean in a year from now, when your score goes from 580 to 620, we don't refinance you, or 700, But the question is, people would be like, oh, I'm going to wait till I get to a 720. But they're also not open-minded to letting us do the optimization plan. Right? So how are you expecting, without the help of somebody, to get to a 720 and wait and wait and wait and wait?
Yeah.
Right. So there's no, I guess where I'm going is credit is impactful, and you got to be comfortable with where you're at today with it. Or if you want a better credit score, then, find a professional to help you optimize your credit, right? And then
Credit
execute.
specialist or something.
Yeah.
Someone.
You
Yeah.
know, we can certainly help. I mean, we just did one not long ago. I mean, 550s to a 641 in less than 40 days.
Damn. That's great.
It was, yeah, it was fast. It was fast. Now but here's the thing. They wanted it, right? I gave them the plan. I said, you got to follow this plan A to Z, exactly how I got it written out. And they executed.
Yeah, it really comes down to just how bad the consumer really wants, right? It comes down to how bad they really want to buy this house or buy a house, right? And get in that situation. It goes back again to, hey, we're willing to extend our hand as far as you're willing to extend yours, and we can make this deal work, or we can make something work, right? We can get your credit scores up. We can help you, help me help you.
Yeah. You can't want it, right? This happens a lot in our industry. A lot of lenders want it more than their buyers do, and we can't do that. It doesn't work, And It's not to be mean. It's the truth, right? I always say that uh, truth is kindness. Tell me the truth, and I see that as an act of kindness. A lot of people see the truth as, oh, he's being a prick, fucking jerk. It's not about that. Hey, this is just the actual reality of life and the facts, right? And some people will take action and do it, and some people won't.
Yeah,
You know.
great.
Does that
Yeah.
is that helpful?
Yeah, that does help. And thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. I mean, it helps me out quite a bit, right? I hope it helps out our people watching, anybody watching, right? Understand how and why credit takes, it plays a big part in your approval, your interest rate, and making that, determination, to buy the house. So now moving on to the next one. So what should buyers consider when determining their budget?
What should buyers consider when determining their budget? I mean, that's a tough one. That's a really hard one because everyone's financial situation is different. But I like to focus on wants versus needs, right? Like
Okay.
what I want and what I need are two very different things,
Yeah.
right? Like I want a 5-acre property with a 10-car garage and a batting cage in the shop and a full court basketball court and a gym, right?
Yeah.
With the big ass house with the sauna and the hot tub in it and everything else. Like that's what I want. And I'm going to get there, but what I need today is our 6-bedroom home with 3.5 baths and a 3-car garage. And so that we can have room for the toys and everything else and a decent kitchen and a loving home, right? That's
Yeah.
what I need. Right. So what
Yeah.
I want, what I need are two very different things. And as a consumer, to identify that budget is like, are you comfortable with the payment? And what are you willing, like if the payment, for example, is higher than what they want, but it's because, hey, I don't want to stop going out to eat 7 days a week, or I don't want to stop buying liquor or some kind of ice, or I don't want to stop wasting Amazon. Like I want to buy something on Amazon every week and return it every week. Like if they're not willing to do that, right? Because like, let's say they're comfortable with, a $2,500 payment. And right now that's tough to do, especially, in the state of Colorado,
In
rates
Northern
are higher.
Colorado.
You know what I mean? But, they're paying $2,200 on rent, but the payment's actually going to be $3,000, $2,900. So there's a $700, $800 spread there, but $300 or $400 a month, they're spending it on just stuff that maybe if they made a couple different changes and if buying a home was truly that important to them, that they would stop spending on that. That's where I would start as far as figuring out the budget. What are you spending your money on now? And how important is it to buy a house? And can I really truly give that thing up that I'm spending money on to pay for this house? Or is your lifestyle and the way that you currently live more important?
Yeah. Yeah, and I know you have some really great first party stories, right? From when you were with the new home builder, and then I believe it was also you had just entered the mortgage world, right? And there was a buyer. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was a buyer that was looking for a house, but they wanted a basement,
Yes, yes.
and you know, so tell us
Yeah.
those, man, because I think that those get to what we're wanting to to express, right? Because those are some great third party stories.
Yeah. So when I was selling new homes, we had a gentleman, his name was Mike, and he worked for a distributor company. It was like Pepsi or Coca-Cola, I don't remember. But he came in to see us, and I had scheduled an appointment with him on a Saturday. And he came in, and of course, I sat down with him and I asked him, I said, hey, tell me about your current situation, and we sat there for a while, just getting to know one another and asking him questions. And he said, yeah, I'm here, I'm renting now, and my daughter comes and visits me during the summer, and she has to sleep on the couch because I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment. And so she sleeps on the couch those few months that she's with me, or a few weeks, or however long it was. So his big focus coming in was like, I want to see if I can buy a house and, give my daughter her own room, essentially, while she's here to visit, and give her that life. And so we go, we're going through the process. We pull credit, we run his financials, and he's a buyer, like he can buy, you know. And of course, buying a house is going to be probably more expensive than your rent, right? Like inevitably it'll be more money,
Yeah.
especially in today's market. But so we take him out to go pick out a home, and we're taking him through the process. And when we come to the payment, you know, I said, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with this payment? And it was like $300 more a month, $400 more a month. And he's like, no, I'm not comfortable with this. Like, nah, I don't think I could do this. And, the reservation and the fear started just like kicking in. Right. I stopped him and I said, and this is what we call being humbly bold. This industry requires you to be humble. Like, you got to be humble. You can get knocked off your high horse real quick. Um, but you also got to be bold. Right? You got to be bold enough to ask really difficult questions and do uncomfortable things. Successful people do what unsuccessful people are unwilling to do. So we call this being humbly bold. So I said, Mike, I can understand that. I understand your concern about the payment, but correct me if I'm wrong, right? When we were sitting back in the information center, the number one reason why you came here today was to get your daughter off the couch and into her own room. Am I right? And he goes, yeah, no, you're right. Like, that's what I came here for. And I said, hey, my suggestion, my recommendation would be to, let's call the office. Okay, you can afford this home. We've showed you the numbers. Your DTI is good, you know. And my suggestion is, let's call the office and take this home off the market and get your daughter off the couch next summer and get her into her own room. And it was a powerful story because he was like, no, you're right. What he needed was to get his daughter off the couch. That's what he needed. That's what he came there for. And so that story is like, hey, that's a hard thing to do. If, I get it. It seems like, holy cow. But at the same time, that was his pain point, and he ended up buying the house. So, and that's one of those, what you want and what you need are two very different things,
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other story, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say what I want is a barn dominium in South Texas on 5 acres. What I really need is just a 3-bed, 2-bath for me, and be my first home. So yeah, I get that. I get that 100%, right? I'm a big fan of barn dominiums. I've seen them. I've have some few plans that I eventually want to build and get, but my first home has to be, just a simple 3-bed, 2-bath, just quick starter home, or, something just nice down in Texas, right? Eventually, I will get my barn dominium and get my land, but got to start off slow.
Yeah. And today's world is much different than when our parents bought. Your dad built a home and he still lives in the same home 30 years later.
Yeah.
Our generation is much different. You know, I think people think, oh, I got to buy this home and I'm going to be here for the next 30 to 40 years. The reality is that you probably won't. You know, things change, life changes, and we have to pivot. You know, you might buy your first home and, you know, a couple of years, you know, something changes and you got a better opportunity, you got to move to a different city or whatever. Well, now you have an investment property. So, you know, the way we think about things, if we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change, you know. And so focusing on your needs, especially if it is your first time house, like focus on what you need and not what you want, you know. You know, if it's your second or third or fourth or fifth, sure, now you have a little bit more play in the wants versus the needs. However, there's still a reason why you're buying your third or fourth or fifth home. And you have to figure out what that need is to buy that first home. Or I'm sorry, to buy that third or fourth or fifth. Does that make sense?
It does. It does make sense.
Like, you know, you might be on your fifth house, but there was still a reason why you needed to buy a new one. And you need to focus on that need to make sure that you're within your budget. Because I sometimes think that the budget is definitely how much money you're bringing in and what's left over, et cetera. But I think the budget is like a mental discipline thing, right? Oh, this is my budget. But then on the budget, you know, it's like $700 eating out, and their mental discipline is like, I don't want to change that, you know, when they can literally save, you know, even half of that just by cutting down and eating out. It's a discipline thing, you know?
It really is. It really is, man. It's kind of crazy. This week I've gone a few times. Shout out to Human Being in South Texas. You know, had that in Colorado the first time and got hooked. But I've been there a few times, man. And just this week alone, I went like 3 times, and that was like $7 each one. $7 each day. $21 in 3 days. You do the math, and just over a week, over a month, over a year, it adds up. It adds up pretty quickly. And that's just, you know, one spot. Now, if you were to go Starbucks or any of these other, you know, coffee places, which is crazy nowadays that coffee's pretty popular. But yeah, it adds up, man. It's the wants versus the needs.
Yep. So I don't know, you know, I don't know if that really answers how to determine a budget. I mean, the budget really is, we're going to do a max approval on you, right?
Of course.
We're going to take your information and we're going to max approve you for this number. Hey, you are maxed approved for this number. I'm not saying you need to buy at this number if you're not comfortable with that, but at least this is your max number. And then you can kind of go from there, right?
Yeah.
Depending on what's out in the market or whatever, you know, but I hope that answered, or I hope that gets some clarity in.
I think it does. I think it does, right? Because, yeah, like, you know, we always max approve somebody just to show them what they could potentially buy should they be comfortable with their numbers. Doesn't technically mean that they have to buy that at that point, but should something come up in the market that they like and they can make those life adjustments to that and they're going to be still comfortable, I think, you know, then they can make that decision for themselves, right? We're here just to guide them and to teach them, and it's really up to them if they really can make that adjustment, if they can make that, you know, lifestyle change.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Cool,
Agreed.
man. Cool.
What else you
Dang.
got?
Well, I know we talked a little bit about this, right? But so as a first-time home buyer, right, what are the documents that we need and what are the documents that we don't need from them? What is it that we really look for?
Yeah. So, you know, I'm going to pull up our needs list email, and I think we should put this in the description to post this, but I'm going to pull it up here. I'm going to do the W-2 first. So, and this is what we call our initial needs list. Essentially, this is what gets us what we need to say, hey, we're really confident in getting you approved. If we can review these and pre-underwrite your file with these pieces of information, then we can move forward. So the first thing is obviously the front and back of your driver's license or ID, right, depending on what you have for ID. We need 1 month of your most recent pay stubs. And that's if you're we'll talk about the self-employed here in just a little bit. 1 month of your most recent pay stubs, your two most recent years of W-2s, okay, the 2 most recent years of the tax returns, and all pages. So this is where people, when they scan it, we need all pages, all schedules And on your bank statements, which is the next thing we need, the 2 months most recent bank statements, personal bank statements, we need all the pages, even the blank ones that are intentionally left blank. We need those too, not the transaction history, preferably.
So tell us
We
a
need,
little bit about that, man, because I have a lot of people that when I send the needs list to, tell us the difference between what is the bank statement and then what is the transaction, because a lot of people get those confused.
yeah, the bank statements typically, they'll, if they're still sending them to your house, that's what they send to your house every single month, from the month prior. And that, it usually has like their logo, right? The bank's logo. It has your address, your name information, your account number, when the statement dates are, and at the bottom, it'll have like a URL, right? Of some sort. That's a bank statement. That is what we're looking for. We're looking for the whole picture and all the pages, even the blank ones, right? So if it's 8 of 8, we should have 8 pages of scanned documents. That's a bank statement. The transaction history is like, you can get a transaction history right from your, when you log on to your online portal. And typically that doesn't come with like the logo. We don't really know where it's coming from. And like the URL sometimes doesn't show up. Sometimes it does on the transaction history. But why we ask for the bank statements is because it's really difficult to fabricate and forge and come up with your own documents and make this stuff up when it's the actual bank statement, because of the logo and all these other things that the underwriters are looking for. So the bank statements are harder to duplicate, harder to forge, harder to recreate, as opposed to a transaction history, somebody that's really good at computers can figure out how to manufacture a freaking transaction history. So those are the two main reasons.
Yeah, thanks for touching up on those, right? Just because I have had a lot of people reach back out to me. Well, what do you mean the transaction history? Like, do you just want the first page of the bank statement? No. I need the entire bank statement, right? If your bank account runs from January 1st to January 31st, I'm gonna need the bank statement that ran from first to.
Yeah.
If you're in between months or whatever, okay, no worries. You're in between months. Get me your last 2 months, right? So give me December's and get me November statements. Once January's comes up, then send me that, right? Should we go past that? If I need a transaction history, right, then I'm going to ask you to go to the bank, go ask them for a transaction statement. And as, a friendly reminder or as a courtesy, right, we always tell everybody, hey, we need those stamped and signed by the banks in order for us to take those as legit or bank statements, right, as a transaction history. So just one thing out there, right? When you get a transaction statement stamped and signed by your bank, just so that we're able to show that you really did get them and not fabricate those. So cool. And then I know you mentioned driver's license. Well, what if somebody doesn't have a driver's license? What other sorts of documentations can you take for?
We can just do a state ID. We can do a passport. We can do, if they have a work authorization, we can do a work authorization. But anything that's a federal ID of some sort or a state ID of some sort that's not expired. Obviously, if you're I-10 and you're on a work authorization, some work authorizations are different. Some different codes we can or cannot use. If you're I-10, that's going to be a completely different loan than your traditional 5%, up to 5% or whatever. So just, anything that, hey, does this name match your taxes and your W-2 and that's not expired, like a valid ID?
Yeah, and if it happens to be expired, remember you have a renewal, we can use the renewal paper, the state that
The
was
letter.
issued by the state, by the Fed. Yeah. So just remember, if it's expired, there's other options besides that, right? So great. I mean, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
And then in the HR contact information, name, phone number, and email address, we want that because we will do a verification of employment.
Yeah.
We're going to verify that. If we need to get a written VOE to make sure that you make bonus or you make commission or you make overtime, we have to reach out to your HR to have them fill out a document for us to verify that information so we can average it out. Like if we need every single penny from your income to use that and qualify income wise, we need to get a written verification of employment. So we have to be able to reach out to somebody in HR to fill that out and verify that. Some programs, there's some third-party programs you can use that'll automatically do it, but not every company is used right, under that program or set up with that program. And then your credit report, right? We do hard pulls. We can do a soft pull, you know. It just depends on where you're at in the stage. Eventually, we'll have to do a hard pull, you know. So we can start off with the soft pull. I don't typically do that. I usually say, let's get the hard pull going and let's get you moving forward, you know. And then the application, the secured application link.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, I normally do like a soft credit pull just because, it gives us time. Now with the way the world works, right? If we have enrolled somebody in the opt-out pre-screen and the national do not call registry, sometimes they get bombarded. So I like to enroll them in there and then we can do the hard inquiry and get them rolling. Yeah, with the soft pull, obviously, it gives us still a good idea of what we can get you pre-approved for, still with the confidence that we're going to get this done and get you to the closing table.
Cool.
Sweet.
Anything else?
No, I mean, that's what I've got for today.
Okay.
It's got what I got for today, man. So I think that we've covered, the home buying basic, what a consumer should look into or should consider before purchasing. Obviously, reaching out to a loan officer, whether it be us, whether it be any loan officer, and giving them their full story, so that they can make that educated, guess or not guess, but educated decision to make that next move and get into a home.
Yeah, and don't be afraid. Don't let that fear keep you from reaching out. Know that we're here to represent you and move you through the next step. Don't be afraid. That's just like the hardest thing to hear, that you were afraid, like, damn, I wish you weren't, you know what I mean? Because I know I can help you. I know that I can, we solutionize, we always say, find a solution to a problem and you'll find fulfillment in that. So, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to be told no. We will help you. It's a matter of if. So, anything else before we jump off?
No, man, we're good. I think we've covered everything for today. And I just want to say thanks to everybody that's listening, that's watching, and make sure to subscribe. Give us a follow. I'd love to hear from y'all. If you have any questions, or if you have, we'll even take in some topics, like help me with some topics and see what do you guys want to hear. Let me know, let us know, and we'll get back.
How can they reach you?
Well, they can either reach me I'm on Facebook, Mario Bravo Loan Officer. Instagram, it's I believe it's the same thing, Mario Bravo MLO or Loan Officer. I'm gonna get the names correct, I promise. I'm gonna look into those. I'm also on TikTok, but I don't really post much on that, even though I'm on it. And just either give me a call or give me a buzz. Shoot me an email. I'm happy to help.
Cool. I can be reached at Bravo Loans on Instagram, at Bravo Loans on TikTok, Daniel at acclaimedloans.com. And then on Facebook, you can search at Bravo Loans and you'll find me on Facebook as well. I like TikTok. I'm on TikTok. You'll see, catch some of my Bravo's brain busters. Those are always my favorite. But anyways, really appreciate you guys joining us today. Looking forward to the next one, and we'll talk to you guys very soon.